What do you think happens after we die?
That's a hard question to answer. I mean, we hope, or I hope, that if you've been a good person throughout your life, that there's a heaven, and that hopefully there's a heaven, and if you've been good, you go to heaven. But and if you've been a bad person, you've done a lot of negative things, then there's a place called hell. That's what I hope. But the realist in me sometimes thinks that you're gonna have to have proof of those things, and since there's really nothing, no physical evidence of those existing, you just have to have a belief that those exist. So, I mean, that's my hope, but that's all it is. You hope that that's where you go.
Yeah. Where does your belief stem from?
Growing up, my mom was really religious. We went to church a lot. Different churches actually in different stages of my life. So I was kind of brought up in having that belief. But as you get older, you kind of tend to question it sometimes because, like I said, most people want to see proof, and obviously there's no like physical proof of those places existing. But that's pretty much where my beliefs came from just being brought up in that.
Okay. Since you said you believe in heaven and hell, what do you think they physically look like?
Um, well, I just think everything that you kind of be programmed to see what they, or to think of what they look like. You see heaven being this great place where everything's beautiful and wonderful. Just blue skies and just a beautiful place that you want to be at. Um, I mean, just think of the most beautiful landscape that you can think of, and I just think of that being what heaven would be like. And hell, I mean, you think of the opposite, just being a fiery place where there's lava everywhere, and just things burning and things like that.
Okay. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but how do you get into them? Who populates your version of heaven and hell? For example, if you're Christian, is everyone in heaven a Christian? What about those people who lived before Christianity? How do they get into heaven?
I just think if you've not necessarily if you've been a certain religion, because all religions have certain beliefs, but I think it's more of if you've been a good person overall, um, that's how you get to heaven. And if you've been a bad person, you've committed the 10 sin, maybe not all 10, but I mean murder and just being a bad person in general, that's, there's not a seat in heaven for you.
Okay. Um, who runs heaven and who runs hell, and what do they physically look like?
Well, I would think it would be God that runs heaven. And I mean, I just see this person that's like think of an old gentleman that looks like he's a king, and with the white beard and white long hair and a white robe, and that type of being, I guess you would say, would be running heaven. And hell would be like the typical Satan that you see with a person kind of red with horns and kind of like horse feet and a tail and all that fun stuff.
Okay, and what is a day like in each? Um, some people only think about how to get into the afterlife, but there's issues in the afterlife where people consider, like, are we able to speak to people that don't speak our language? Do our pets go there? If we're widowed, are you married in the afterlife? Yeah.
I think heaven's about being around people that you've that you know in your, when you were here on Earth, your family and friends that also made it to heaven. And yeah, I would hopefully that your the animals and pets that you recall or had when you were growing up, hopefully make it there as well and stuff. I just see a happy place that you're just excited and happy and to be there, and just being around great people that made it there also.
Okay, last question. How does your belief in an afterlife affect the way that you live your life? And what choices do you make that are directly or indirectly connected to your afterlife beliefs?
Could you repeat the question, please?
How does your belief in an afterlife affect the way that you live your life?
Well, if you feel like you need to be a good person and do the right things in the eyes of God to be able to make it to heaven, that dictates how I behave here on earth, because you're going to be judged and they're going to know exactly what you did, so that's going to determine if you make it or not. So you tend to want to do good here on earth to be able to hopefully have a chance to make it to heaven.
Okay, thank you.